Well, welcome everybody. Really appreciate you coming to this webinar today about building a buffer mindset. The session's being recorded, so you'll be able to come back to it whenever you feel like it. And so I want to say hi to everybody. So I really appreciate you being here and welcome. And anytime you just write in the chat box, I can see that. And let me know what you're thinking and feeling. That'd be great. So we're just going to start with a little bit about me. So there's some nice cute pictures of me there. So first and foremost, I'm a wife and a mother. As you can see, this wedding photo here is my oldest daughter's wedding. Oh, hi Tash, good to see you. So this is a photo that was taken, it was a few years ago now. So there's two little ones are my youngest two children, and they're the youngest one there, the blonde hair, she's now taller than all of us, all the girls. So it's a few years ago now, but it's one of the few photos we've got of all of us. So they're all my darling children, and I now have 8 grandchildren and 2 more due this year. So plenty of kids in my family. I'm also very adventurous. I love to travel and I love to being fit and active. You know, picture there of the chairlift at Queenstown, for those who know it. And yes, I did come down on the go-karts, so I like that. I've had a number of careers in my life, in counselling, as a social scientist, and running my own business as a health food shop, as a bookkeeper and a personal trainer most recently. So I found a great word recently that describes me. I'm a multi-potentialite, which means I love lots of stuff. Hi Lou, welcome. So our family run a building development company. So all of the boys that you can see there are all involved in a building development company with my husband, and we specialise in investments. And we personally are keen investors, and so that property you see down there is one that we built last year, and it's a multi-rent accommodation. So it means it's really highly positively geared, which is the way to go. And a few years ago, I discovered a thing called EFT, or another word for it is tapping. And I've trained in it in the last couple of years because I recognised it as the missing piece. So in all of these things, when I was a counsellor and a personal trainer, you listen to people, you help people, but it's the why they do things. So think about, why do we eat a chocolate bar a night? We know we shouldn't do that. Or why don't we put our money away in savings? Because we all know that these are the things we should do, but we don't tend to do it. And that's the thing that EFT addresses, and that's what excites me. So what about you? What about you and your savings? So what are your saving saboteurs? Are you just learning about money management and have heard this thing called buffer? Or are you feeling that you need to start saving, but you just don't know how? Or maybe you're more like I am, and I've been in my life, where I watch the money saving and then I get actually quite anxious watching this large amount of money sitting in a bank account, and I feel like, but I could spend it, and I can feel anxiousness grow. And the other one that we often experience is, well, I'll put money away when I get richer, when I make more money. But you'll find that you never make more money. You've always got more expenses than you've got income. It's just one of those things. I don't know how rich you have to be before you can't spend it. But so far I can spend everything I earn. So what we're going to cover today, and I don't know what happened to this slide, but yeah, we're going to cover the buffer. So first off, I know I've had a lot of questions of what is a buffer. A buffer is an amount of money that you put away in a bank account that's available for you in emergencies. So it's not a savings for the car. It's not a savings for when the washing machine breaks down. It's actually sitting there as a buffer against natural disasters and against personal disasters. So we've got one experience at the moment. My husband's actually sick and he's not working. Luckily, because we have those investments, we've got a reasonable income. But we also, it's costing us money, his illness. I reckon it's costing us at least $1,000 a month. And to have that buffer there, to know that you've got the money to be able to pay the expenses, is just wonderful. And that's what a buffer's for. Many years ago, I had a shop, an actual online, a real shop, an online one, a real one, and it burnt down in a fire. And so suddenly you have no income. That's what your buffer's for. And it's wonderful to have a buffer in those situations. And the mindset connection that goes with that is first off knowing that you've got that money available, but not to use it. And that's a mindset issue. Or feeling that you can put that money away and not touch it. So the next bit, the core beliefs about buffers. These are thoughts that you have that feel like truths. So you absolutely know this to be true. It's like, why would I need a buffer? There's more important things to do with my money than just have it sit in a bank account. Or something like, I'll never be able to save that much money. So these are core beliefs about our buffers that feel like truths, but they're not really. They're just mindset issues, but they feel true. So that's your core beliefs. And how EFT fits in here? Well, EFT works with your thoughts and your beliefs and your feelings. So they're the things that are helping, that's what makes those thoughts. So what are your thoughts around money and savings and your value, what you deserve? And there's a little saying that the amount of money that's in the bank is actually showing you what you feel is your value, how much you value yourself. So EFT works on a number of levels with this. First is with these money programs, the things that you've learnt since childhood. So some of the things that you might have learnt as a child were all rich people are crooks. You can imagine how if you have that belief, then having money just isn't going to be something you do. If you think all rich people are bad, horrible, mean to their kids, have bad marriages, then why would you want to be one of those? Or people with money in the bank are greedy, but they're not sharing. They're just sitting on their money. Or money's for fun, not for savings. These are thoughts that you've possibly picked up early in your life. So you won't remember learning them or thinking them through, but they're beliefs that are sitting inside your brain and are going to stop you from actually making money. So Meg's saying rich people are mean and selfish. It's such a common belief, and yet here we are all aiming to be rich. And how can you have those two beliefs at the same time? And so you'll just sabotage yourself. And that's where EFT comes in, because we're going to rewire those belief systems. So by rewiring them and realising that rich people can be helpful and caring and loving and have good relationships as well, are all going to just make this so much easier. The second mindset issues that we can have is just our own belief systems about us now. So things like, how can I possibly save that much money? Or I hate budgeting. It's spoiling my fun. One that I've run into is, I'm just a woman. And I know you think, I couldn't possibly have that belief. I don't believe that belief. And yet it sits there underneath. I'm no good with money. And that sort of fits with the I'm a woman, I'm no good with money. I can't save. Thinking about money scares me. Or what do I need all that money for? Shalini's saying, I don't have to deal with it. So I don't want to deal with the money. Tash saying, you can't take it with you. So why bother saving it? Let's just spend it and have fun with it. Hey, Tash. If I don't think about it, then it's not real. So they're all of the possible beliefs that you've got running around in your system about saving money, or about having money even. So what happens if you don't sort this mindset issue out? Well, it's really simple. If you don't sort it out, you won't get any money. You won't be able to save the money. because your system is just saying, I can't do that. You'll continue to sabotage your savings. So you might put some money aside because you know you should and you're going to stick to it, and then it just disappears into thin air. Something happens and you spend it, and you never achieve your goal. We get very clever at ways to make sure we don't save. We just sabotage ourselves all over the place. So Lou's saying, yeah, money just causes stress. So if you imagine having that belief system, if money causes stress and you're watching this money grow in your bank account, you're just getting more and more stressed. So you have to spend it to relieve the stress. So what happens if you don't sort out your mindset? You'll stuff your savings, guaranteed. And it's a really big issue that people don't realise that they're stuffing it, because it looks like, oh, the car broke down, the washing machine broke down, the kids need dental work. You know, there's all sorts of reasons why it looks like it's real, but it's not. It's your mindset. So I've got a lovely story about a guy I knew, and he was told this story a few years ago. He was having real trouble saving money, and so he got really serious about it one day. And this was in the olden days where you put money in bank accounts with passbooks. You remember those olden days? Some of you probably don't, but in the olden days it actually wasn't as easy to get our money, and you had these books. And so he was putting money aside, and he actually gave the passbook to his mother and said, hold this for me and do not let me have it no matter what happens, you know. And it wasn't long before his car broke down, and he lived out of town and he needed the car. So of course he went to his mother and said, you know, I need that savings. And she said, no, you told me not to give it to you no matter what. And apparently the story is that he really got quite cross with his mother, and she stuck to her guns. She said, no, you told me not to give it to you no matter what. And you're like, well, how am I going to get to work? How am I going to, you know, what am I going to do? Anyway, because his mother stuck to her guns and refused to give him the book, he actually solved his problems. And the story was quite funny because he actually went to the neighbour who had a car that he wasn't using and asked if he could borrow it. And in return, he did some work around the property for the neighbour. So if you don't have the money, you solve the problem. And so you have to think about not having the money. You've got to keep it, believe that it's got to stay there. You've got to see it as a real thing, not just sort of like, oh, well, I can spend it this month and I'll make it next month. Well, what happens if you do sort out your mindset? Okay, and that's the exciting bit, because money is actually just energy, and it loves hanging around where it's wanted. It actually congregates, and there is a truth. It's called the rich get richer, and there's a reason for that. It's not that they cheating the system or whatever. It's that they've actually sorted out their money mindset. They actually understand how to make money and how to keep it. And they're able to pass that system on to their children. And I'm already finding that with my own children. So some of you might have heard the story about my youngest daughter is now 15, and she's watching her friends getting jobs at McDonald's and things like that. And because, you know, 15-year-olds at McDonald's are lucky to earn $10 an hour. And she's going, I want more money than that. That's not good. She said it was ruining their social life. And they're hardly earning any money, and then they spend it on clothes. And she says, that's not what I want to do. And we were getting our cars washed at the car wash, and we get our lawns mowed. And so she asked us how much we pay, and she negotiated a price about $10 cheaper. So not much cheaper, but about $10 cheaper. And she said, I'll do it. And so that's her job now. She washes our cars and she mows our lawns. We're winning because we're paying slightly less. She's doing a really good job of them. And she's earning some serious money, and she's putting it all in the bank, because her goal is that when she turns 18, she's going to buy her first investment property. she's not buying a car like many of her friends because she's quite happy to take my old car. She said, Mum, I'll have the old car. You can have a new one. Thanks, daughter. And she's going to stay living at home. So at 15, she's already understood what she's got to do to start making money. One of her goals, like many 15-year-olds, her career goals change daily, but she'd love to be an actress. And she said, well, actresses only work sometimes. She said, so I need a stable income for the other times. And she said, oh, I want to do property investing. Can you imagine what it would have been like if we could have had that money mindset at 15, if we'd understood that? And that's the benefit you can pass on to your children, because once you've got it, you've got it. One of my older sons, well, he's actually my youngest son, one of my older children, he's about 33 now. He's also got it. And he started at university and then went, oh, stuff this, I'm going to do property investing. He invested in his first property by the time he was about 22, 23. And he bought an old house, which he renovated, which had a big shed out the back. So he renovated the house so that he had tenants in the top story, tenants in the bottom story, and then he lived in the garage. And he renovated the garage. It always reminded me of the TARDIS. It looked like a shed on the outside, and in the inside it looked like an inner city apartment. It was absolutely beautiful. But his tenants paid off his house, so he was living rent-free. And so he then spent a lot of his 20s travelling, and he would just come back, buy some property, flip it, go travel some more, come back, buy some more property, flip it, travel some more. So that's how he spent his 20s. He got to 30 and went, oh, I've spent a lot of money. I need to get serious. And in the last 3 years, he's bought 3 more properties. So his goal is to be completely income, well, what's the word? You know, to be living off his investments by the time he's 40. And I would think he's well on the way. So that's what a money mindset can do for you. So sort out the money mindset and the money will literally flow towards you instead of flying away from you. So imagine having a buffer account and you have no worries about what's going to happen each month. So as entrepreneurs, we know that, you know, we have good months and bad months. Tash has just written a blog recently about, you know, you might want to have, you've got this wonderful product you're going to launch, but it takes 2 months to launch it and you're not advertising your more one-to-one services in that time. You need the money. You need to have some savings to protect it. Just a little aside there too. What do you do with this savings? Because we never want money sitting around doing absolutely nothing, because that would be that's not a good money mindset either. The absolute best thing to do it is to have an offset account against your mortgage. So it's a bank account that sits there and all the interest you're earning comes off the interest to your house. So you've got and that's how money makes money. So you now have money that's gaining interest, that's taking interest off your house, which is a very poor investment, your own house, because you have to pay tax on that interest, on the money that you're paying into your house. But if you have your offset account, your money's growing in that and it's offsetting the mortgage that you're paying. So it's another win-win. And that's what we want to do with money. All right. So what are your core beliefs? What are your beliefs about having a buffer? Have any of the beliefs that I've mentioned already hit you or made you feel squirmy? And if you ever feel squirmy or or especially if you get very aggressive, that's not true, or how dare she say that? They're things to look at, because that means it's hit some core, it's hit some nerve. And what I want you to do now to find your beliefs is I want you to write down on a piece of paper the current amount of money you have in savings. So this isn't in mortgages or investments or stock market or anything like that. What have you actually got in the bank that you could access in the next day or two if you needed to? So write that number down in fairly large writing on a piece of paper and look at it. And tell me, what are you thinking when you look at that money? Right? This isn't the money you're going to spend on food tomorrow. This is just savings. So write it in the, tell me in your chat box what you're thinking when you look at that number. I don't need a buffer, Hatash. There's always more money coming in. What happens when you get sick, Tash? And you know that sickness can hit at any time. Or as I said, yeah, we had a fire. You can't predict those things. They're not stuff that you choose, I can assure you. So looking at that number, have you got some feelings? All right. Now write down another number of $60,000. What if you had $60,000 sitting in that, especially something like an offset of your mortgage or a savings account? $60,000 is only $10,000 a month for 6 months. Now, I don't know what your expenses are per month, but that would probably only just cover most people's expenses. What do you feel about $60,000? Could you have that much money sitting in your bank account? How would you feel? It's quite funny because often having that much money sitting around can make you feel quite anxious. So thinking about those feelings, think about other things that we could read out. Things like, so I want to pay debt with it. So I can't just have that much money sitting around. I've got to do something with it. We're actually going to have some more webinars in the next few weeks. So this is a series of 3. We've started with buffer because it is a challenging one. We're also going to talk about debt. So there's a whole nother mindset about debt, and there's another whole mindset about income. So we're going to talk about those 3. So Shalini, you're saying you paid into the mortgage. The point of a buffer is that it's accessible if you need it today. So something went wrong today, and as I said, like a fire burning your business down. So if you imagine a fire burnt your house down today, you don't want to then have to try and negotiate with the bank to get that mortgage back out, which is why it's good to have it in something like a mortgage offset account where it's helping your mortgage without it being tied up and hard to get to. The thoughts are not logical. Our brain doesn't do logical stuff. So don't expect these thoughts to add up to anything sensible. So they're going to be things like, yeah, if I've got money sitting in the bank, then I'm not being nice to other people because I could share it. Money's for fun. Money's not, not meant to be this serious. To put money into savings, I need to budget. Or if I put that money into savings, what happens if I need it for something? So there's all of these thoughts that can come to it. There's plenty of things we can think to spend money. And as I said, I had an experience many years ago when we bought the shop. We were actually on a very basic income before we bought the shop, and buying the shop doubled our income. And we instantly spent double the income. And we thought, oh, well, if we double it again, we'll be right. And we doubled it again and we spent it all. And then we actually, after the fire, we actually rebuilt the shop and moved back in, and we doubled our income again and we still spent it all. And it's a real learning experience that it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can spend it all. And that's why it's so important to put savings away first. If you wait till the end of the month and say, I'll put away what's left, there'll be nothing left. So yeah, debt is another whole mindset issue, and the debt and the buffer, like how can I put money aside as a buffer if I've still got debt? But if you don't, I mean, why have you still got debt? Because you're still paying stuff off, because you're still buying stuff. So we'll talk about debt next time. All right. So thinking about those thoughts that you've just had, oops, back the other way. There we go. We're going to do some tapping. So for those of you who don't know tapping, this is just a chart to show you where the tapping spots are. So tapping is where we literally tap on these meridian endpoints, and they've shown in MRI scans that tapping on these points actually helps the stress response, that fight or flight response in the amygdala, which is in the part of our brain. And these tapping on these spots helps to relieve that stress. And as we're seeing in some of these comments, stress is one of the things that comes up about money. At the same time, we talk about our feelings. And this is very different than what we're used to with the affirmations of, you know, money flows to me, I'm rich, I've got money coming to me from everywhere. And that's what we've been taught to do with affirmations. The problem with affirmations is that when I say something like, I have enough money to pay all my bills, and you've got a big pile of bills sitting there, your brain goes, no, you don't. Don't be silly. I've got money flowing to me from all sources. You go, no, I haven't. So that's the problem with affirmations. We've got the little voices in our heads just arguing with us all the time. And I don't know about you, but I've had times when I've got a headache from the trying to say affirmations and have the voice argue with me, and it's just like this argument going on in my head. What we do with tapping is the complete opposite. We actually talk the truth. And it might sometimes be the first time you've ever spoken the truth. So we're going to say things like, what? I've got no savings. If something bad happened tomorrow, I would be having to go to the government for a handout tomorrow. I've got nothing left. If the car broke down, I'm stuffed. You know, we're going to say those feelings. So what I want you to do is to listen to those voices in your heads, those ones telling you something, telling you about got to spend money to make money, debt, all of those thoughts that you've been having. So listen to those voices. Write some of them down beside those numbers. When you looked at those numbers of how much savings you have and the number of $60,000, which is, you know, a suggestion for what a buffer might look like. What are those voices telling you? And how do you feel? So I want you to think about your body and feel the feelings. So if you're anxious, are you feeling that churning in your stomach? Or are you getting a headache from all this talk about money? Or can you feel the weight of the problems on your shoulders? So think about those feelings and state your truth. Oh no, I've got no savings and it scares me. And so who said that? I've got a really good one saying here that you've got to convince your subconscious mind. That's right. It's the subconscious we're going to talk to, and that's where tapping, we're talking to the subconscious mind. So, oh, you're getting a serious headcake from the bobcat, Meg. It could be the bobcat. It could be this talk about money, because money does give us headaches. All right, so you're getting those feelings. Now, what I want you to do is the thing there that says SUDS level. So it's your number. So if you think of out of 10, 10 meaning I've really got a headache. This is really causing me stress. I want to just lie down and forget about it. That's a 10. And 1 is I'm cool. I've got $60,000 in the bank and I'm feeling cool. So what's your feelings? What's your number about your feelings? So just write that down beside those feelings that you've got. So I'm really anxious, I'm stressed, I'm worried, I'm sad, I'm annoyed at myself because I had savings and they've gone. I hate money. Whatever feeling you've got, write that number down. And we're going to do tapping and see how you go. So we're going to now be really clever. No, what have I done? Let's do some EFT. So we're going to stop sharing my screen and you're going to see me. Are you going to, oh, there we are, start video. Ah, hello everybody. So can you all see me? Lots of 8s on your lists. I like that one, Tash. Money burns a hole in my pocket. Fantastic. Yep, good. Thanks, Lou. You can see me. All right. So the tapping points, we'll just go through them again when you just saw that chart. So the first one's here between your nose and your eyebrow. The next one beside your eye, under your eye, under your nose, on your chin, in the little creasy bit on your chin. And then we have one here on your chest. So you come down from your collarbone and in from your breastbone. And if you feel around there, there's a little hollow in there. And then under your arm here, about where the bra strap goes under your arm. So there are your tapping spots. And what we're going to do is we're going to do our setup statement. So we start here on the side of our hand, and you stay and you just repeat after me. So I'm going to say, great. Even though all this talk about money stresses me. Hang on, sorry about that. Charlie, come here. Quick, out. He promised he'd be good. He told me he wanted to be in here and he'd be good. All right, so we'll start. Even though all of this money talk stresses me, and I really don't have a buffer, and it scares me, I love and accept how I feel. Even though all this talk about money is so stressful, and I really don't know what I can do, and I'm worried, but I love and accept how I feel. Even though this is so stressful, and I really don't know what to do, and I'm not happy with that buffer number, but I really feel I need to spend everything I earn. I love and accept how I feel. And so starting here at the eyebrow point, all this money worries beside your eye, under your eye. This buffer under your nose. I'd never even heard of a buffer, and now I'm worried. Under your chin. This buffer. And on our chest. This is stressful. Under your arm. I don't know if I can save that sort of money. I'm not a very good saver. Money just disappears. Money burns a hole in my pocket. Money's for fun. I don't want to get all serious. All this talk about money, it's so scary. I don't have enough money. How can I possibly save money if I don't have enough? What am I going to do? How on earth could I get a buffer? This is all too hard. I don't like budgets. They're boring. Money's for fun. Money's to play with. But I am worried about the future. And what if something went wrong? What would I do? This is all too hard. How on earth can you save that much money? I've got so many expenses. My back steps need fixing. My bills need paying. I only just make ends meet now. How on earth am I going to get a buffer? How on earth can I save money? I've never saved anything in my life. And now she's telling me to save stacks of money and to just let it sit there. I've got so many things I want to do with money. I can't let money just sit around. I need to spend it. I'm trying to get a business off the ground. And it's costing so much money. I've got travel I want to do. And it costs tons of money. I want to buy a house. I'm struggling to save for that. How on earth am I going to save for a buffer? Who's the silly person that thinks that's a good idea? But the money people talk about it. I don't have anything. And it does scare me a bit. What am I going to do? All right, have a deep breath and check in with yourself again. So tell me how you're feeling now. How does that feel when you look at those numbers now? Can you feel a slight reduction? Some of those statements hit home? So you could feel them feeling true. So when you look at the statements that you've written on your piece of paper, can you feel a change in what you're thinking? So maybe as we were going through and we started with this is impossible, what we're looking for is that there were some little thoughts that went, oh, maybe I could put a few dollars aside. Or, oh, I can see that this could be valuable. So just little thoughts that might be coming in. And it is interesting, isn't it, saying these negative thoughts out loud. It's so different than what we're used to doing. And it changes because you're saying them. You're actually talking the truth, probably for the first time ever, because we're always so busy trying to be positive and upbeat. But we don't have to worry. It's not like we're going to, with the law of attraction thing where we're be careful what we talk about so that we don't go down that negative path. This is different because we're talking what we're feeling, but we're tapping at the same time to get the stress out of our system. So just saying it out loud helps to get it out, because all of these thoughts are stuck in our brain and they're stuck in our cells, and we need them out so that we can put the good stuff in and progress towards our goals. So you like $60,000, Tash? Can we think about that and have that much money sitting in the bank for the rainy day? And yes, tapping some of those points, particularly those two down here, this one on the chest, if you feel around, it can feel quite sore. And again, the one under your arm. These are meridian points, so they're the energy flow through our body, and they can get sore if they're stuck. So the energy's stuck in those spots. And the spots do relate to different organs and systems of our body. That's another whole lesson. But yeah, it's quite common for the one on the chest or one under the arm. For me, believe it or not, it's the one under the eye. It actually gets quite sore, and that's the small intestine. So that's really interesting sideline of the thing. And yes, so we need to keep tapping. This is just a little demonstration. So those thoughts that hit home, you need to keep tapping on those until you feel comfortable with a number that you've decided that's the right amount for a buffer. So there is somewhere between 3 and 6 months worth of expenses. So what you would have to live if you were, say, seriously ill and couldn't work, what would you need to live on for that amount of time? So your mortgages, your food, your rent, and your business expenses, all of those, what would you need if you had to live on that much money for, say, 6 months? It's quite a scary amount. All right, so let's do another round of tapping. And this time we're going to tap on accepting those feelings and putting some positive things in those. So we're going to start with, even though this has felt scary, I can see the value of a buffer. And I'm really looking forward to working out what my number is. And I love and accept these feelings. So even though it sounds like a lot of money to put aside, I'm actually thinking that I could do this slowly over time. And I love how I feel. Even though this is pretty amazing stuff and I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, I'm open to thinking about it and to listening to my inner voices. And I love how I feel. Money scares me. I still have lots of bills. And now I'm being told to save as well. I'm really not sure how I can do this. But I'm thinking about it. I'm open to the possibility. Maybe I can. Maybe just a few, just a bit to start with. Maybe a couple of $100 a month I could start with. I could set some smaller goals. Maybe 1 month would be a good goal for this year. I could save 1 month. I think I could do that. I've got a special savings account that would be good for that money. I can see how this would give me more security. I can see how this would feel better. It has been so scary to think about this stuff. So scary to think about what can go wrong. So many beliefs around money. Can I really earn this money? Do I deserve to have lots of money? Am I willing to be rich? Or am I willing to think about money? I think about what income I want, what savings I want. Willing to look at my money. Willing to think about a budget. And again, nice deep breaths. And it's really important to have drinks of water as well, because what we're doing here is we're actually rewiring the cells. We're changing the cells. And there's quite a bit of work on that in the epigenetics field. You can see where your thoughts can actually change your cells. So I'm going to have a drink of water. All right. So let's go back. And you can, this is your opportunity now, somewhere. Stop video, there we go. And we're going to go back to sharing the screen, maybe. Can you all see my screen now? Let's go to EFT. Not yet. So which button do I need to press? Not yet, okay. So stop the screen, mute. It's just there somewhere. All right. Share screen. What about now? Click share screen. Yes, great. Okay, so we've done some EFT and Kay's working through her technology. I'm tapping on my technology issues and I'm getting there. It's not just for money, it's also for our love of technology. Okay, remember I grew up in the day of bank books. So, you know, that's where my technology's at. So Lou, feeling calmer, feeling possible, fantastic. Thanks, Tash. Yes, conquering money's easy. Conquering technology's going to take another day or two. But we can do this, and we can do the money thing as well. So, any questions? This is your opportunity to ask any questions about money or EFT. As I said, there's 2 more webinars coming. We're going to talk about income and debt. So obviously I've got an offer for you because that's what we do. And I've got 4 one-hour sessions via Skype. And we're going to work through your money mindset map. So a map is talking about things like your savings, your income goals, so your big goals, your debt, and your, and another thing called toxic money, which is an interesting one. So that's your money mindset map. We work on the different aspects of money. So I've got a special today for the first 3 people who sign up. The first session is going to be 90 minutes long. That gives us the chance to go through this money map in detail and make sure that we've got all of your thoughts about all the different aspects of money and really get to them. And so for the 4 sessions with the 90 minutes is $325. So a really good bargain because Tash is going to make me put my prices up in June. So just have to wait till, so it's good to get in now before she makes me put my prices up. No, not make me, of course. It's a great idea. So this is a great opportunity to get in now. So we work through Skype, we work through the tapping, we work through your money mindset, and help you with anything that comes up. All right, so any questions? Oh, yes, so there's David's put in the email address for you to contact me to let me know, or you can obviously let me know here. That's a bargain. Yes, it is a bargain. When you said under the eyes, the small intestine, what's under the arm? I'll get back to you, Tash. I'll have to go look it up. I don't remember that one. I remember the ones that impact me. But I'll go look for it because I've got a little chart that tells me that. Yeah, it is. It's interesting because these points can all be sore. People have talked about it. And you'll notice that everybody's got favourite ones as well. So you think about, you know, the famous statue with the thinking, and he's thinking with his hands on his lip and on his chin. And those are two of our main points. Lots of people find that chest one very valuable. And often when you're feeling very stressed, you can just tap the chest. Tongue twister there. If you tap the chest, it can actually relieve the stress. So if you're going into some meeting or something and you're feeling stressed, it doesn't look too weird to be just tapping your chest gently. There's been some interesting sports people recently. If you look at the rugby or the tennis, you'll actually notice some of the sports stars tapping, which I think is really interesting. And there's some videos out of some of the very famous people tapping. So things like Louise Hayes and Bob Proctor are really into the tapping, and you'll see there's videos of them being taught tapping and using it. All right. Oh, Lou's got the chart. Reject. Okay, thanks, Lou. What do you think of that, Tash? Under the arm removes fog thinking patterns and increases concentration. That sounds good, doesn't it? So yes, all of the points, because they are meridian points, do have value. So is there any questions from any of that? Anybody feeling anything different? Enthusiastic about working towards savings for your buffer? Have you worked out an amount that your buffer should be, that you're going to go? Okay, Meg, lovely to have you here. Thank you. I'll see you again. Bye. So yes, so what I'd like you to do is think about your buffer. Think about where you're going to put it, so which savings account you're going to use it. Think about how much money that you need to put aside. And it needs to come out of your income as soon as you get it. So don't wait till the end of the fortnight or the month or whatever. You need to decide that and put it aside first. If you need some help on that, read the book called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's his recommendation too. Take the money out first. You need to decide how much it's going to be and then put that aside and get the joy from watching it grow. Somebody I was talking to today said it's really quite fun to watch that grow. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Remember the great offer there for my offer. You're most welcome to take that up or come and ask me some more questions. Did you see my question, Kay? No, Tash? Oh, okay. The left and the right hand. Yes. So with the left and the right, you can tap either side. I'm not on video now and I'm waving my hands around. You can use either side and you can swap. That's fine. So you can swap hands and you can swap sides. And some people find with their face they can actually do the two hands. So all that's just fine. And that's one of the best things about tapping. You can't mess it up. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I really appreciated you on today, and I really appreciated your interaction and your questions, and I look forward to hearing from you some more. Bye.